The Tyrant's beloved Empress. /Note, this chapter is the combination of the published chapter with the addition of the special snippet with R18 content. It's not hard to pinpoint when the combination happened. Chapter 57. Satisfaction. It was true that Xue Wuyi did not need to intercept the envoys from Zheguo to Yejing because there was someone else who cared more for An Changqing's safety. The secret treasure of the Xi Empire lies in the person in the painting who happens to resemble An Changqing. Regardless of whether Emperor An Qing was interested or not, anyone who heard of this would want to get a hold of An Changqing. And it mattered not if Xiao Zhiga believed Xue Wuyi's letter entirely, he would still do everything in his power to prevent Shi Wei's envoy from reaching Yejing alive. So by offering Xiao Zhiga this piece of information, it not only helped him solve a serious problem but also allowed him to get on the northern warlord's good side. And Xue Wuyi's decision was absolutely right. Xiao Zhiga will never tolerate anything or anyone putting An Changqing's safety on the line. ******. The message was delivered by Xue Wuyi's personal maid accompanied by the portrait. The maid told him that the person in the painting looked exactly like An Changqing, but with a quick glance, Xiao Zhiga could tell that the person in the painting was definitely not An Changqing. The person in the painting had longer and narrower eyes and thinner lips, making him look cold and distant. Even the mole under his left eye could not soften this sense of aloofness. The painting alone was enough to give him an unapproachable aura, very much unlike his new No, whose looks embodied warmth and kindness. Xiao Zhiga observed the painting without making any comments. Ji Shui couldn't help but follow up, "My master told me to pass this message to Wang Ye, as long as he still breathes, the Xi Empire will never be De Ye's enemy." Xiao Zhiga held his hands to his back and thought for a long time before giving her an answer. "Go back and relay this to your master, regarding his previous proposition, this lord agrees." He then pointed to the portrait and said, "I suppose this is a replica. I'll be keeping it." The portrait was indeed an imitation drawn by Xue Wuyi while the original scroll was hidden away. Ji Shui bowed and retreated soundlessly, leaving the painting behind. Xiao Zhiga stayed in place, sinking into deep thoughts while looking at the portrait. He was doubtful that Xue Wuyi would create such a ridiculous tale just to win a favor from him. If so, then this portrait and the secret treasure of Xi Wei were highly credible. As for the resemblance between An Changqing and the person in the picture, the most likely clue would be from An Changqing's maternal family. The An family had its roots in Yejing from the beginning of their ancestry. It was impossible that they would have any relationship with Xuechang or the Xi Empire. As such, An Changqing's maternal family would provide a plausible connection. However, Lady Yu came from a brothel, her parentage was unknown. With a plan in mind, Xiao Zhiga carefully put the portrait away. He quickly wrote a letter and had it delivered with haste. Once everything was arranged, Chang Zikang arrived to ask about the jade mines. When Chang Zikang heard that Xi Wei was willing to give up the jade mines without a fight, he was in disbelief. "Why do I feel as though there's something going on that I'm unaware of?" Xiao Zhiga raised his eyes and said to him, "There's much that you're unaware of. You only need to take care of the mines. And as agreed, I'll be taking 70% of the profit." Chang Zikang no longer pursued the topic. After fighting along Xiao Zhiga for these many years, he knew Xiao Zhiga would not do him harm. Instead, he began to discuss the next step. What happens after we have mined the jade? As they did not report this to Yejing, it was unwise to let this matter spread. Xiao Zhiga had already thought this through. He instructed, after mining the jade, have merchants deliver the raw stones southwards. There are businessmen there who will be willing to invest in these. Although the Deya Empire was currently in a decline, it was still a wealthy nation. Especially in the south where the first emperor had once established trading with the Yuezhi Empire. Businesses flourished during that time and those merchants remained rich to this day. Later, the subsequent reigning emperors abolished trading, but the region remained prosperous. The rich there did not concern themselves with money but what to spend it on. putting up the jade at an auction was bound to reel in a few buyers. Chang Zikang was a little doubtful. Auction off the jade? Are you sure someone will buy it? Xiao Zhiga gave him an impatient look and said, send someone who's good with commerce to build momentum first. The south is filled with businessmen, I'm sure it'll be sold in no time. Chang Zikang heeded his advice and left to make the arrangements while Xiao Zhiga went to find An Changqing with the portrait. An Changqing had already had his breakfast and was reading in the study. Yu Xiao was now familiar with his duties and followed behind An Changqing like a little tail. Seeing Xiao Zhiga approaching, he straightened up and greeted him. Xiao Zhiga nodded at him and entered the room. When An Changqing heard him coming in, he put the book down and looked up. Xiao Zhiga met his eyes and remembered the painting. But the more he compared the two faces, the more different they felt to him. Xiao Zhiga had no intention of hiding this matter from An Changqing, so he carefully closed the door behind him and told An Changqing everything. The portrait was spread out on the table and An Changqing stared at it with great intensity. After a while, he shook his head and affirmed, I've never seen this person nor heard mother speak of this before. Whether it was this life or the previous life, he did not know that he had any connection with the Shui Empire. He had heard some old stories from his mother, but it had nothing to do with Shui. As an infant, An Changqing's mother was abandoned and left on the roadside. The only item she had on was a piece of twin-fish jade pendant. She was picked up and raised by her adoptive parents until the year they were afflicted with famine. Thanks to her beauty, she was bought by the brothel in exchange for silver to save her foster parents' lives. This was simply baffling. Even Xiao Zhiga seemed to know more than he did. But even so, Xiao Zhiga seemed to have hit a dead end. Since An Changqing did not have any information either, Xiao Zhiga took a candle and burned the painting. Leaving this painting around is tempting fate. Keep this matter to yourself and tell no one. An Changqing was perturbed by this unexpected development. In his last life, he had never stepped out of Yejing and therefore, was ignorant about the Shui Empire and that they even had such a secret. It seemed that with his rebirth, he was able to change a lot of things, but at the same time, also disrupted many events that had not taken place in his last life. There was no telling if these changes were for the better or worse. Xiao Zhiga saw him grimacing and thought that he was anxious about the situation at hand and tried to comfort him. I have given the order to assassinate the envoy from Shui. This information will not reach my imperial father or anyone else. An Changqing shook his head and rested it on Xiao Zhiga's shoulder. He sighed and said, I just feel like lately, things have been happening one after another. There's simply no time to rest. It was inevitable that An Changqing would feel anxious that everything was starting to get out of control. He couldn't help but blame himself for being too oblivious and uninformed in his previous life. Xiao Zhiga stroked his back and thought of another way to comfort him. The jade mine is ready. Let me take you there to pick out some good pieces. An Changqing was still listless, but Xiao Zhiga's invitation cheered him up a little. He nodded and went along with Xiao Zhiga. After the negotiation over the mines ended, Shui troops were called back and the camps were cleared. Liangzhou soldiers then went on to cordon off the mining area, making it inaccessible to the public. The pair went in to have a look. Inside were craftsmen filtering out the raw jade stones and loading them onto carts. These stones were mixed in with earth that were shaken up during the landslide. An Changqing spent some time learning from the craftsmen on how to grade the jade. Having managed to pick out a good amount of high-quality jade stones, the uneasiness that he was feeling for the last 2 days eventually faded. From the running of the jade mine to finding buyers was left to Chang Zikang to handle. As there was nothing urgent left to deal with, the pair prepared for their return trip to Yanzhou. One early morning, a herd of horses lined up along the main road. An Changqing had now learned how to ride and picked for himself a tamed mare. Little Yu Xiao was to be brought back with them, but since An Changqing was still a beginner at riding, He asked Xiao Zhiga to ride with Yu Xiao. Although Xiao Zhiga did not object, his face turned dark, and for the whole way on the road, his eyes kept looking at the figure ahead. Yu Xiao, sitting in front of Xiao Zhiga, was squirming with fear and dared not move a muscle. After knowing that the person who saved him was actually the Wangfei of the northern warlord, Yu Xiao's admiration of Changqing was raised to another level. He felt that not only was Changqing kind-hearted, he was also truly amazing. Even the scary warlord had to listen to him. As the 5th month approached, the temperature got a lot warmer. The people in Yanzhou had changed to thinner clothes. And since the war had ended, the city had become much more lively. When they returned, the people of Yanzhou gathered and gave them a hearty welcome, making the city seem bustling and joyous. By the time they reached the manor, it was already evening. Yu Xiao was handed over to Anfu, while Xiao Zhiga and Changqing went to have dinner and planned to turn in early. Having traveled for 1 day and night on horseback, Changqing's body was aching all over. After washing up, he sat on the bed and beat his legs while pouting coquettishly. When Xiao Zhiga came in and saw this scene, he went over and sat next to him. He placed Changqing's legs on his lap and began massaging. "Riding will take a toll on your body. I've told you to ride with me." The northern warlord was still unhappy that Changqing did not ride with him and instead, arranged for a child to take his place. It wasn't that tiring at the beginning. Changqing pursed his lips and jolted Xiao Zhiga's shoulder with his foot. Xiao Zhiga chuckled and continued to press Changqing's acupoints. As the hands with calloused fingers ran across Changqing's tender skin, he felt a tingling itch. "Stop rubbing there." Changqing tried to pull his foot back as he felt ticklish. Xiao Zhiga's eyes turned dark. He leaned forward and whispered, No, can we make love tonight?" Changqing's entire body froze on the spot. His cheeks and ears reddened as he stared at Xiao Zhiga with wide eyes. Xiao Zhiga was provoked by his bashful reaction. He placed his hand over Changqing's back and beseeched, "Can we?" Changqing heard his words and felt like he would emit smoke from his body any minute. This would be the first time he had done this, whether it was his past or current life. Nonetheless, they had been married for so long, making love was nothing abnormal. He also did agree that they would do it when they returned to Yanzhou. What stumped him was, why does his husband feel the need to seek permission in such a formal way? Changqing glanced at him and thought with annoyance, such matter, shouldn't they just get to it spontaneously? Did he even have to ask? Xiao Zhiga could not tell what Changqing was thinking, so he waited patiently for Changqing's answer. For them to do it, Changqing would be the one to suffer. This was greatly unfair to him, and Xiao Zhiga was unwilling to force him. If Changqing did not want to, he would continue to wait. Seeing Xiao Zhiga's expectant eyes, Changqing swallowed nervously and mentally encouraged himself that it was no big deal. Still too embarrassed to say yes, Changqing plucked his courage and gave Xiao Zhiga a kiss to show his acquiescence. A pair of moist and soft lips pressed against his own, clearly representing Changqing's answer. Xiao Zhiga felt his desires surging, but he dared not let himself get overexcited in fear of hurting Changqing. He untied Changqing's hair and slowly supported his head while lowering it onto the bed. His fingers combed through his hair as he gently planted a kiss on his forehead. He smiled and whispered softly, "Don't be afraid." Changqing laid on the bed while Xiao Zhiga was pressing down on him. He felt flustered by the look of yearning in Xiao Zhiga's deep eyes. Xiao Zhiga went on to plant tender kisses along his earlobe to his cheek, the tip of his nose, and eventually his soft pink lips. Each kiss put Changqing further into a trance while fueling Xiao Zhiga's desires. He reached his hands into Changqing's robes and began undressing him. Soon, the clothes on Changqing were removed, revealing his ravishing body. This was not the first time Xiao Zhiga had seen Changqing naked, but today was different. His new nose's flawless skin seemed to dazzle with seduction, and Xiao Zhiga couldn't help but want to caress and kiss this body from head to toe. As much as he wanted to treasure and protect the person under him, he couldn't hide the burning desires in his heart. Contradicting but equally profound emotions tugged at each other, and the final result was the numerous red petals that bloomed all over Changqing's body. His ivory skin set off the rose-colored marks, making Xiao's Higa all the more aroused. His throat went dry and his manhood became swollen. Trying to hold back his lust, the northern warlord finally experienced what it felt to fight a losing battle. As Changqing was breathing heavily beneath him, Xiao's Higa continued to kiss him passionately while his hand slid southwards until it reached a semi-hardened pole. Changqing's body stiffened the moment Xiao's Higa touched his manhood. He reflexively tried to close his legs, but Xiao's Higa had slipped his hand between them and began stroking his member. No, don't be afraid," Xiao's Higa whispered in his ear as the powerful hand filled with calluses rubbed against Changqing's shaft erotically. Although this feeling was foreign to him, every one of Xiao's Higa's touch filled him with thrilling arousal. Changqing let out a moan as his member became fully erect. Having confirmed that Changqing was also getting aroused, Xiao's Higa gained the confidence to move on. He retrieved a jar of lubricant from the bedside drawer and opened it with haste. No, I have to apply this for you. Can you spread your legs? Changqing was completely embarrassed by his request, but he still opened up his legs into a V shape. Xiao's Higa swallowed his saliva as Changqing's pearly rod came into full sight. The captivating view made Xiao's Higa thirsty for more. No, wider. Changqing shifted his legs further apart to reveal a shy little pink hole. Xiao's Higa swiped some lubricant and proceeded with the application. He gently massaged the contour by drawing circles around it with his fingers. When the hole became moist and inviting, Xiao's Higa slowly inserted his middle finger. Changqing's body jerked lightly, but it was not in discomfort. Xiao's Higa's finger was not as thick as the jade rods he had been practicing with. Xiao's Higa sensed Changqing's familiarity with this step and added another finger. The powerful call-used fingers rubbed against the walls of his honeyed cave, creating a friction Changqing had not experienced with the jade rods. Changqing could barely control his moans. Unconsciously, he had wrapped his arms over Xiao's Higa's neck and pulled him close. Xiao's Higa took this chance to capture his lips, and Changqing hungrily welcomed his kiss with his tongue, causing Xiao's Higa to suckle at his lips more voraciously. When they parted, Changqing was almost suffocated, but before he could catch his breath, he felt a warm and sturdy object rubbing its length against his chrysanthemum. No, can I enter? Xiao's Higa asked in an almost begging tone. Again, as a husband making love to his spouse, why does this person feel the need to ask for permission right in the heat of things? If it weren't for the man's pitiful expectant eyes, Changqing would have snapped at him. Putting aside his shame, he lifted his legs and folded them around Xiao's Higa's waist. The seductive gesture aligned his back hole with Xiao's Higa's now hard as iron manhood, beckoning him to enter. Xiao's Higa's eyes darkened as he finally let his carnal desires take over. In the face of such seduction, he can't possibly be called a worthy husband if he couldn't pleasure his no. Xiao's Higa held his iron-hot rod and aimed its tip at the pinkish opening. He caressed the moistened entrance teasingly before advancing inwards. Changqing let out a soft cry and tightened his arms around Xiao's Higa. No, relax. Don't be afraid, Xiao's Higa spoke while kissing him intermittently. Changqing saw the sweat on his forehead and heard the breathlessness in his voice. Xiao's Higa was at his limit. Ye, keep going. I'm not afraid. No, Xiao's Higa called out his name as he thrusted his member deep into Changqing. Ye. This was the first time Changqing felt such a sensation. Xiao's Higa's member was thicker and longer than the tools that he had been practicing with. It completely filled his hole and was able to reach the secret spot deep within him. No, I'm going to start moving. Xiao Zhiga spoke, and without giving An Changqing time to think, he had already begun thrusting in and out. The thrusts were slow and short at first and eventually turned aggressive and quick-paced. After a few repetitions, Xiao Zhiga managed to find An Changqing's sweet spot, and he made sure to hit it with each plunge. Wang Yet! Wang Yet! An Changqing gasped sensually as tears formed in his eyes. Does Nu No feel good? Propelling forward, Xiao Zhiga kissed An Changqing's tear-filled eyes and asked provocatively. An Changqing wanted to give him a stern stare, but Xiao Zhiga increased the speed of his thrusting, making him groan loudly and arch his body in tandem with his husband as his sweet spot was being vigorously ravaged. Ha, ha. Wang Yet! Nu No, my sweet Nu No. As he reached his climax, An Changqing hugged Xiao Zhiga's neck and bit down on his shoulder, trying to muffle his lascivious moans. Receiving An Changqing's bite, Xiao Zhiga felt a tremor run down his spine, ready to reach his peak. After thrusting in his thickened spear a few more times, he could feel An Changqing's body shake and a warm stream of white liquid sprayed on his abdomen. I will love and protect you forever. With one final thrust, Xiao Zhiga declared his feelings as he reached his orgasm and left his mark in An Changqing's body. Tears fell from An Changqing's eyes as he heard Xiao Zhiga's words of love. He smiled and whispered back, I will always be by your side. The two kissed to seal their renewed promises to each other. That night, Xiao Zhiga was extremely gentle. Thanks to the exercises and instructions prescribed by Hu Shifei, An Changqing was not in too much pain. But because of the day-long horse riding, he was completely exhausted and fell asleep right after it ended. On the other hand, Xiao Zhiga could not sleep a wink. After he had meticulously washed An Changqing's body, he held him in his arms and looked at him tenderly. From now on, this person is his entirely. Xiao Zhiga did not sleep as he was in high spirits. At daybreak, he went to train in the yard to vent the excess energy. He had also carefully instructed the kitchen to prepare only light meals for An Changqing. Coming back from the kitchen, Xiao Zhiga happened to see Anfu, who was about to enter the room to call An Changqing. He immediately stopped him and ordered, "You don't have to wake up Wang Fei for today." Anfu assumed that An Changqing was simply tired from his trip and therefore, left without thinking too much about it. After Anfu left, Xiao Zhiga did not enter the room either, lest he disturbed An Changqing's sleep. He sat in the yard and watched over the door, seemingly lost in thoughts. When Qi Wei and the rest of his group came to visit, they were dumbfounded by the sight of Xiao Zhiga smiling in a daze. End chapter. The Tyrant's Beloved Empress. Chapter 58. Indulgence. Qi Wei and the others had matters to discuss with Xiao Zhiga. Hearing that he had returned, they hurried over to the general's manor. When Qi Wei saw the rarely seen smiling face of his general, he couldn't help but wave his hand in front of him. "General." Xiao Zhiga snapped out of his daze and withdrew his smile. He looked back at Qi Wei coldly and said, "Why are you here? Is something's up?" Qi Wei was still curious regarding his previous appearance and pestered, "You looked happy. Do you have any good news for us? If there was good news, shouldn't it be shared with everybody? Furthermore, they have never seen Xiao Zhiga putting on such an expression. It must be some really big news." Xiao Zhiga already knew what Qi Wei was thinking without having to ask, but since he was in a good mood today, he did not want to chide him. He glanced at him with some pity and said, "It's indeed a happy event. But for someone who's still single, you won't be able to understand." "Qi Wei, what's wrong with being single? What kind of happiness can only be obtained after marriage?" Qi Wei refused to agree. He was about to refute Xiao Zhiga when Xie Ling elbowed him, "Keep your mouth shut and talk less." Vice General Qi Wei stared at him begrudgingly. It suddenly dawned on him that in the whole of Yanzhou, it seemed like anyone could bully him. As Xie Ling always seemed to have better insight, Qi Wei decided not to pursue this matter. He changed the topic. Why don't I see Wang Fei today? This question poked right at Xiao Zhiga's heart. He partially wanted to flaunt his happiness to his subordinates, but realizing that this was a private matter between himself and Nuno, it would not be appropriate to discuss it with outsiders. So Xiao Zhiga answered Qi Wei with some ambiguity. He slept late last night and is still tired. He's resting in the room right now. The single dog Qi Wei of course wouldn't relate this to anything else other than An Changqing being worn out due to the trip back from Liangzhou. He nodded in agreement. It's indeed tiring to ride on horseback all the way to Yanzhou. Xiao Zhiga was speechless. He wanted to say something else but caught sight of An Changqing walking towards them. When An Changqing woke up, he could still feel the lingering heat from last night. His temperature rose and his face turned rosy red. He left the yard to get some fresh air and happened to see Xiao Zhiga chatting with his subordinates. From the look of it, it seemed that they weren't talking about anything serious, so An Changqing decided to come over and greet them. At home, An Changqing only wore a simple light robe with his hair tied back, looking graceful and pleasant like an emerald sapling in spring. Qi Wei saw Xiao Zhiga go over to meet him and whispered to Xie Ling, "Why do I feel like Wang Fei has become more charming after his return from Liangzhou?" He looked at the couple talking and became envious of the general. Maybe it was really time that he found himself a partner as well. On the other end, Xiao Zhiga went to An Changqing and asked with some concern, "Why don't you rest a little longer? Is there anywhere that's uncomfortable? I was bored, so I came here for a walk." "There's nowhere that's uncomfortable," An Changqing replied with some bashfulness. Xiao Zhiga was extremely gentle last night. Although there was some discomfort in the beginning, it gradually became enticing. Moreover, he had prepared his body specially for this, so he was not hurting in any way. They were perfectly in sync, and other than feeling a little tired, An Changqing was immensely satisfied. Xiao Zhiga, on the other hand, was feeling slightly troubled. Previously, because he was worried for An Changqing's body, he had done some research by himself, and according to some texts, men with good skills could make their partners stay in bed for 3 days. An Changqing saw his strange expression and asked, "What's wrong?" Any man would be concerned with his performance in bed. Seeing that they were far away from earshot, Xiao Zhiga lowered and asked, "Last night, was it not enjoyable for you?" An Changqing never would have thought that Xiao Zhiga would ask such a question right in public. If they were not in the presence of outsiders, he would have given the man a kick. He snapped at Xiao Zhiga, "What is Wang Ye asking in broad daylight?" He then gave him a stern stare and stomped off angrily. Xiao Zhiga could not figure out if An Changqing was comfortable last night, but he knew he had upset him and dared not follow. He coughed lightly and went back to the yard. Qi Wei and the others looked at each other and agreed that only Wang Fei dared to throw a tantrum in front of the general, and on the other hand, the general was only this gentle in front of Wang Fei. Xiao Zhiga went back to the pavilion and sat down. His smile had disappeared looking at the group. "Speak. Why are you here?" Even though Qi Wei was usually dense, hearing the sternness of Xiao Zhiga's voice, he knew that he should not play with fire. He went on to report the matter at hand. The Ministry of Revenue had officially issued a new welfare tax to fund the building of the 99 stories pagoda to Blesta. Furthermore, each province has to send over 5,000 soldiers. When they received the official documents, Qi Wei and the others were furious, but since Xiao Zhiga was not around, they could only wait for his return to discuss this matter. As Qi Wei had always been straightforward, he complained without reservations. After the severe winter came the war. The people haven't had the time to get back on their feet yet. Now they need to pay more taxes and be sent off to do labor. His Majesty is simply. With his reasoning still intact, Qi Wei did not finish his sentence. At the moment, we can't afford to pay that much tax, Xie Ling interjected. Because of the severe winter last year, the commoners were not able to stock up enough grains. On top of that, the prolonged winter also delayed the wheat planting window. The harvest for this year is bound to be scarce. If we impose heavier taxes on the people at this time, I'm afraid many will be facing a hard time. Taxes were collected by the governors of each province before being sent off to the state treasury. To fill up the depleting treasury, Emperor Nqing's one simple decree would cause suffering for the majority of his citizens. If the local officials were not able to meet the tax quota, they could only oppress and exploit their citizens. This was simply scraping the flesh and blood of the commoners. Thanks to Xiao Zhiga and An Changqing's timely rations delivery, Yanzhou was able to live through the snow disaster. However, this was not the case for the other northern provinces. Suzhou, Bingzhou, Qizhou, and several other provinces that had suffered heavy casualties. The survivors were still struggling to live by, and now, they had to face increased taxes and free labor. It was fine that Emperor Nqing did not send out support to alleviate the people's pain, but to put out such a decree at this juncture just showed that he treated the people as nothing but dirt. Although Xiao Zhiga had been informed of this event, he still felt it was unbelievable upon hearing it. In his younger years, although Emperor Nqing had loved to indulge himself, he still knew his limits. Ever since he pursued the methods of longevity and invited several immortality masters into the palace to brew pills for him, he had become increasingly unscrupulous. Maybe because he believed he would soon ascend to immortality that he cared so little for mortal lives? Xiao Zhiga thought for a moment and said, "Delay the payment for now. If the Ministry of Revenue comes to collect the taxes, you can act pitifully and cry out that you're too poor to pay. If they refuse and demand immediate payment, you can turn the tide and ask about the missing grains that they owed us. The grains that were mixed with sand that were sent by the Ministry of Revenue have yet to be compensated. And as it stands, the Ministry of Revenue was unlikely to be able to cough up even half of that amount." Qi Wei was immediately elated. He patted his chest and assured, "If it's just begging for sympathy, let me handle it." Xia Ling asked with concern, "But we can't stall forever." Xiao Zhiga did not disclose much and simply said, "It'll be fine. Just stall for now." After they all agreed on the plan, the two left while Xiao Zhiga returned to the main courtyard. And Changqing had already washed and changed his attire. He saw Xiao Zhiga come in with a serious look and guessed it had something to do with Qi Wei and Xia Ling's visit. Xiao Zhiga sat beside him and sighed, "New nose dream, it finally happened." When he first arrived at Yanzhou, and Changqing had told him everything he knew from his previous life under the guise of having dreamed it. Although the reason for building the 99 stories pagoda had changed, the consequences remained the same. And Changqing was worried, that means Suzhou is about to get chaotic. In his last life, the riot had stemmed from Suzhou. The general of Suzhou was Shen Tu-su, the son of the great marshal Shen Tu-bei. Shen Tu-bei had always been loyal to Emperor Nqing, they couldn't hope to get him to listen if they tried. Xiao Zhiga shook his head and said, "There's no need to warn them. At this point, the more chaotic it gets, the better." He looked at An Changqing and said solemnly, "It might not be long before we have to return to Yejing." An Changqing's eyes widened, "Is His Majesty?" Xiao Zhiga placed his finger on his lips and lightly shook his head. An Changqing recalled what he had told him on the city walls, Emperor Nqing did not have long to live. Obsessed with the crazy Taoist priest that Xiao Zhiga had made up, Emperor Nqing sent out a lot of people to find him. However, what he found was another Taoist who claimed to be a master alchemist. After entering the palace, he presented the emperor with a bottle of youth-restoring pill, said to be able to return someone to their healthier, younger self. Emperor Nqing ordered for someone to try the pills and saw a sickly old man turning strong and energetic. Although he did not turn young overnight, it was good enough to impress Emperor Nqing. As of now, Emperor Nqing had been taking the pills for almost 3 months now. According to the report Xiao Zhiga received, Emperor Nqing indeed seemed to have improved spirits and his visits to the harem were also more frequent. Emperor Qing thought that he had truly found a transcended Taoist master who could prolong his life, but Xiao Zhiga's spy was able to dig up a vital piece of information. This Taoist master was inextricably linked to Xu Guifei. End chapter. The Tyrant's Beloved Empress. Chapter 59. Sleep in the Study. Xu Guifei was the birth mother of the third prince, and having entered the palace for many years, she was immensely favored by Emperor Qing. She hailed from the Xu family of Ding, and with her brother being the general of Yuzhou, Xu Linting. Her maternal family was the Shui family of Yejing. The Shui clan was one of the 6 founding families of the Deya Empire. As such, her influence should not be underestimated. This had also given her an edge to stand on against the Empress. Before, when the third prince was still young and Emperor Qing was still a somewhat responsible monarch, Xu Guifei had to give way to the Empress. However, 10 years later, when her son was coming of age and Emperor Qing was becoming muddle-headed, Xu Guifei's ambitions had resurfaced. As the crown prince's position was becoming more stabilized, Xu Guifei had gotten impatient. Seeing Emperor Qing's obsession with the crazy Taoist, she hatched a plan and arranged for the appearance of this alchemist. If it weren't for Xiao Zhiga's scrutiny, her plot would have been seamless. Nonetheless, Xiao Zhiga had no intention to expose her. He had his scouts collect a sample of the pills that Emperor Qing was taking and had it examined. The pill indeed contained valuable tonic ingredients that even the imperial physicians could find no fault with. However, after sending Hu Shifei the list of ingredients, he simply wrote back, "Highly potent concoction, not suitable for regular intake." This tonic pill was indeed effective in energizing the body, but if taken incessantly, the body would get used to the state and become dependent on the pills. Discontinuance in usage would reduce the body to a withered state, even worse than before taking this pill. Furthermore, the pills lose their effectiveness with each dose. It would still be effective if taken for 1 to 2 months, but after that, the dosage had to be strengthened to achieve the same result. As such, the potency of this pill would only increase to the point that the body could no longer absorb it, causing the meridians to burst out like a broken dam. In any way, there was no upside to taking this pill. As of now, Emperor Qing was very fond of this Taoist master and had kept him by his side. It seemed it wouldn't be long till he felt the destructive effect of this pill. And Changqing bit his lip. He did not expect that the emperor would die this soon in this life. In his previous life, Emperor Qing was bedridden for 2 years before he reached his end and called Xiao Zhiga back to Yejing. This time, it happened too soon. And Changqing looked at Xiao Zhiga and wondered if there would be any repercussions to this acceleration. In his previous life, the crown prince lost his virtue in the eyes of the court and was stripped of his title. The third prince was sent to subdue an uprising and was assassinated by the refugees. As a result, Emperor Qing only had Xiao Zhiga left to pass his throne to. This had caused countless rumors to spread, that the crown prince's immoral acts were a setup by Xiao Zhiga and that the third prince had died by his hands. Even Emperor Qing's death was rumored to be his doing. With the suspicion of killing his brother and father, Xiao Zhiga's throne reeked of malfeasance. And Changqing looked at Xiao Zhiga with some heartache. He did not know how Xiao Zhiga had managed it in his last life, but in this life, he refused to let him bear this unwarranted reputation. And Changqing asked softly, "When we return to Yejing, what does Wang Ye intend to do? Are you going to compete with the other princes for the throne?" Xiao Zhiga saw the concern in his eyes and said, "The crown prince and the third prince will fight this death match by themselves. There is no need for me to interfere. Isn't it better to sit by and reap the benefit as the two of them finish each other off? But they might not allow us to stay on the sideline." Xiao Zhiga nodded and smiled at him. "That's why when father falls ill, we have to find a reason to delay our return to Yejing as long as possible." And Changqing understood his plan. He smiled and said, "So has Wang Ye come up with an excuse yet?" "Not yet," Xiao Zhiga replied calmly and went on to tease Changqing, If Nu No can have my baby, then we'll have a solid reason for not returning. And Changqing froze momentarily before he reacted and kicked Xiao's Higa on the calf. Wang Ye is becoming more and more unruly. Especially since last night. Xiao's Higa let Changqing vent his anger and then held him in his arms. He wrapped his hands around his waist and repeated his question from before, Nu No hasn't let me know if last night was satis. Before he could finish, Changqing angrily blocked his mouth with his hand. It was very satisfying. Changqing answered with haste. However, Xiao's Higa believed that Changqing was only trying to pacify him. Although he liked it that his Wangfei was being considerate towards him, Xiao's Higa insisted that it was his duty to satisfy his spouse and secretly planned for tonight. Changqing was completely oblivious to Xiao's Higa's dilemma. He pushed the man away and left to manage the matter. Time flies when one is busy. In a flash, evening came. When Changqing had taken his bath and returned to the bedroom, he was pulled into bed by the fully prepared Wang Ye. The initial grumble in reluctance gradually turned into sporadic moans. This night, silhouettes could be seen merging in the dim moonlight as the bed continued to shake, all the way till the 5th hour of the night. ******. The next day, Changqing could not get out of bed. Xiao's Higa finally regained his confidence, but watching Changqing resting wearily against the bedrest, he felt some regret and heartache. He ordered Anfu to deliver Changqing's breakfast and went on to feed him attentively. But Changqing just stared at him and refused to open his mouth. He didn't know what had gotten into Xiao's Higa last night. No matter how much he cried, the man would not let him off. Even now he could still feel his back aching. Being stared at by Changqing, Xiao's Higa's smugness was replaced with a sense of guilt. He could only try his best to coax his Wangfei. Does Nu No not like the porridge? I'll have the kitchen make some chicken soup then. There's no need, Changqing took the bowl of porridge and took a sip. My body is a little unwell. It's uncomfortable to sleep with two people in bed. Apologies, but can Wang Ye sleep in the study tonight? Xiao's Higa. At this point, even someone as dense as Xiao's Higa could tell that Changqing was mad at him. Xiao's Higa was confused regarding the reason, but seeing Changqing's sullen expression, he could only comply and dare not ask. After he finished the porridge, Changqing was feeling drowsy and went back to bed. Xiao's Higa sat by his side till he fell deeply asleep. He covered him with a quilt and ordered Anfu to guard outside before leaving. There were still some pressing matters waiting for him to resolve. And so, on this day, the lieutenants who were eagerly expecting their general saw him come in with a dark and murderous look. Xie Ling, who had always been sharp, quickly found an excuse and slipped away. Tie, who saw him fleeing at the speed of light and immediately followed. Qi Wei was one step too late. He was caught by Xiao's Higa and dragged all the way to the fields in the suburbs. It was now the 5th month. The wheat that was planted some time ago had grown considerably. Under the hot sun, many farmers could be seen carrying buckets of water on their shoulders to irrigate the fields. Qi Wei was trying to stay small and quiet like a baby quail. He did not know the reason why Xiao's Higa brought him here, but intuitively, he knew that it was nothing good. The prolonged winter has delayed the harvesting to the 8th month. It's likely that the crop yield will be poor this year. This matter had been discussed once after the war had ended. Qi Wei wasn't sure why Xiao's Higa brought it up again, but he dared not speak up and could only wait for Xiao's Higa to elaborate. Sure enough, Xiao's Higa added, the second half of this year will not be peaceful. We have to find ways to grow more crops for the people, or else, things will get very difficult later on. According to Changqing, the uprising which started in Suzhou would advance to the rest of the country. Based on Emperor Qing's nature, Xiao's Higa could practically guess his course of action. To suppress the uprising, he would need to mobilize the army. But sustaining the army required food and money. Now that the treasury was empty, where else could he get these resources other than the people? It would be great if the uprising could be pacified, but if not, the next 2 years would continue to be difficult on the common people. Yanzhou was Xiao Zhiga's main base, he had to be prepared and keep it strong. Qi Wei was also concerned regarding this matter. We've already planted whatever we could. Sadly, Yanzhou was a barren land with harsh climate and little water. It was difficult to grow anything here. The yield from 1 acre of plantation was much lower than that on the south. Any farming activity was only enough to feed their own family. In times of war or natural disaster, the people would starve if they depended solely on this harvest. Although there were plans to change this over the years, the many battles against the Baidi people had impeded any progress. "Keep thinking," Xiao Zhiga said to him sternly. He gave him a serious look before turning away. "When you return, work with Xie Ling and gather the experienced farmers to discuss. We have to come up with a solution." Qi Wei nodded with a bitter face. ******. The Empress Dowager's birthday fell on the 17th of the 5th month. On this day, Emperor Anqing proclaimed a general amnesty to celebrate. Xiao Zhiga sent back to Yejing the gift he had prepared and a letter begging for forgiveness for his absence due to the current state of Yanzhou. Although they did not see it with their own eyes, the report from the scout stated that the Empress Dowager's birthday banquet was strikingly extravagant. And to please the Empress Dowager, nobles and dignitaries from all over the country had sent lavish items as gifts. The celebration was supposed to last 9 days, but on the 5th day, an emergency report was sent from Suzhou. The peasants of Kanyang County that shared a border with Bingzhou had revolted. In half a month, their numbers had risen to nearly 10,000. They had overpowered the officials and soldiers of the areas along Sishui River. This did not happen without a trigger. The people of Suzhou had suffered much after the snow disaster due to the lack of aid from the imperial court. Houses were destroyed and lives were lost. It was hard enough for the survivors to get by with the little food they had managed to save, but the court still demanded heavy taxes from them. Naturally, most commoners could not afford to pay this amount. The tax-collecting officials couldn't care less for their circumstances. They resorted to violence when a farmer could not pay his tax and caused his death. This act angered the people and they hung the officials on a tree right outside the village entrance. Knowing that they had committed a crime, the villagers decided that since they had nothing to lose anyway, they banded together and rebelled. Similar events had been happening in other villages as well. However, the local magistrate did not take it seriously, sending out only a few men to suppress the insurgents. After several failed attempts, he finally realized the severity of this matter, but by the time the report reached Yejing, half of the villages in Kanyang County had already joined with the rebellion. End chapter.